Getting started with Designer is both simple and fun. Welcome to this lesson on using Designer. We're going to be learning how to import images. We're going to learn about digitizing patterns from paper patterns. We're going to digitize from Apparel. And we're going to set our patterns from coordinates and measurements. Using the Designer software is quick and simple. We'll be starting with using the software and importing images to digitize from. For many centuries, designers have looked for better ways of creating their patterns. The Designer is the latest technology in creating your own designs and styles on your own home PC. Start creating your own designs and fashions. Create your own products. Develop your own design sketches. Import your own style. Welcome to using Designer. In this lesson, we're going to cover importing images into the drawing area to set up for digitizing. To load an image, click on the JPEGs button on the top bar, and a window will allow you to browse your computer for images. I've set up this image, which I'm going to import now. I can unlock it from dragging and position it where I would like it. I'm going to bring down the percentage to about 60%. Okay. Now I'll just position this where I'd like it, and then I can lock it. So now I can see the drag's locked. And that way when I digitize, it won't move around. And I'm going to adjust the scale here to 1 to 3 so that there's enough space here, because as you can see it's 26 inches, so that would need at least 3 pages on your printer high and 3 wide to cover this particular pattern piece. And I'm just preparing this for digitizing. Now another thing I'd like to do is I'll flip this so that let's drag on, so that I'll digitize with the center to the left here for my particular pattern piece and digital image here. Go ahead and set up the digitizing area using images that we take with our digital cameras from existing clothing and then import into the software to then trace out as a pattern piece. So that will introduce you to using images, how to set them up in your digitizing area. The screen replaces the function of those traditional large digitizing tablets that they have, which are used in CAD design and engineering offices. And as you can see, we can just use our screen and set that up, lock our pattern piece, and then we can just go ahead and draft out the points here for this particular pattern piece. I'm just going to hold down the control key here. And we'll just, we can quickly draft out this pattern piece here. Of course, I haven't set my control points yet, and we'll just get our arc in here. So that's how we can very quickly digitize out a pattern piece from existing apparel, just using our digital camera and the pattern software as our digitizer. So that would be a good project for you to try, practice using your software with. In this part, we're going to digitize from a pattern. I've got a pattern piece here that I created in Designer 4, and we'll just scale this down to fit within the drawing area and position that there. And now I can go ahead and scale and calibrate this particular pattern piece, and let's pretend that we have. We'll set our control points, and because it's a skirt, we'll make it the side seam, actually inseam. for the length of the skirt. We'll lock those control points, and we'll just go ahead and digitize this piece here, holding the control key down, drag in arc 4, and drag in arc 2. And I'll just turn off that image, and you can see I've just digitized the pattern piece from a paper pattern. So go ahead and try that, some of the patterns that you have in your designs. And now we'll go on to the next lesson, where we'll learn how to input our patterns from measurements. Now the final part on this section on images is creating a pattern from measurements or dimensions. So what we'll do is we'll set up our scale to 1 to 3, and we're going to create a band 3 inches wide by 17 inches long. So what I'll do is I'll bring over the layout tool, and for the Y I'll create 17 inches, and for the X, which is the width, we'll put in 3 inches, and we'll then position our first point right there. And for the Y, let's put it in as a waistband, and for the height we'll just use the same measurement. We'll use waist circumference. We'll lock that point, and I'll then create a new point, which will create in the same place as this one, and then I'll just send that point over 3 inches. Now I'll duplicate a new point, and we'll send that down to 17 inches, and then we'll copy that one and then send it back the 3 inches. And that completes the layout of this pattern piece by using the layout tool. Of course, you can also use the control point tool to set the points as well. In this case, if we put in 4, in this case here, and click X, you see it would move to that 4 coordinate. Same with the Y, just by clicking on the X to the Y button. So let's just send this one back. So try that using these tools and laying out your own patterns. Of course, you can measure existing clothes and then use those measurements to plot out your points as well. And I find that sometimes quicker than actually tracing out an existing pattern piece. And that completes this part of images.